it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome in to What's Brewing, Chancellor Brewington. We got the host, as always, not in studio, but on the Allo VIP line, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. Of course, that is Chancellor Brewington, the former Husker football tight end and 93.7 The Ticket talent who represented us over at Big Ten Media Days. If you guys want to join in, 402-464-5685, and you can put a face to the voice or a graphic in this case. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, whichever one you want to call it. Download channel 961. With the house cleaning out of the way, let's go ahead, bring him in. The host, as always, Chancellor Brewington. It's been a minute. How's it going, man?
It's going great. It's going great. It's good to be on the show, although I'm not in studio. It's good to be on the show. How you doing, Harrison?
I'm doing fantastic. Obviously we got plenty of things to talk about. You've been incredibly busy. I'm sure you got some stories from being out there in Indianapolis, but just an update on everybody. Where you at? What you up to?
Yeah, so I'm in Arizona right now. Nephew just kind of born, so I'm getting to know him and seeing my family and just enjoying life right now. You know, when you get an opportunity to see family, you can't turn it down.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, I mean, where do you want to start with this? I know we got the quarter century worth of wisdom, but I mean, there's been so many things going on, obviously, with Big Ten Media Days. You were out there. You got to enjoy that whole experience. We got the Olympics going on as well. Well, not currently. They'll pick back up tomorrow morning. I think they're 7 hours ahead, so there's no way they're out there at 2 a.m. still having events. But, Chancellor, you're the host. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, so I think quarter century wisdom or the encouragement of the day. I'm reading a book. Of course, I'm reading the book, but I'm reading a book. It's called Tiger Heart, Tiger Mind, and although I don't prescribe to the illustration that it gives of us being a tiger, because I think we're a lot better than tigers, but it basically talks about how you matter and your dreams matter, and if you want to improve if you want to improve the quality of life of those around you, follow your dreams, and it shows you the process of following your dreams, that your dreams, if they're not acted upon, they just are fantasies, and that just taking time out your day to imagine and to to tap into your subconscious mind, because it refers to the subconscious, and it talks about how the subconscious, 95% of who you are comes from your subconscious. Only 5% comes from your conscious, and your conscious is just like what you're feeling in the moment, what you can actually feel. But your subconscious is this huge computer system that basically takes record of everything that's ever happened in your life, whether you realize it or not, and it basically like programs you. So the book is talking about rewiring your subconscious to where you can actually feel and you can know yourself a little bit better. Because we talked about one of the keys to quote unquote wealth. not just monetary wealth, but just wealth in general, is knowing yourself. So this whole my reading now is all about knowing yourself and learning more about yourself and learning about your mind, learning about the quote unquote heart, which is really just your subconscious. But that's what I would leave. That's the core century wisdom for today. I hope someone had the ears to hear what I was saying.
Yeah, that's actually a good one. I was I don't know why, but that actually crossed over. It's something I was pretty listening to that was pretty similar the other way. So like when you're listening to your subconscious, do you let that navigate you? Is that just kind of random thoughts popping through your head? Like, what is that subconscious to you? Is that something you need to try and listen to when you do kind of hear that in the back of your head? Or I guess how do you perceive it?
Yeah. So how I would describe my experience with just the subconscious, I would say it's a process, and it's a thorough process of quieting your mind. I would say quieting your mind and allowing your subconscious to speak. So that's I think that's why meditation is so important. And it's not like this wacky meditation where it's like, singing Kumbaya. It's really just like getting to a quiet space and just allowing your mind to just process everything or letting your mind quiet, letting your subconscious give you information and all this different stuff. I tend to feel it as if it's like just a still small voice. That's how I describe it. It's that still small voice that like you don't really get to hear, but when you hear it, you're like, whoa, like that, that was different. And then but I would say the hardest part is quieting the mind. I think, like we talked about, we're so prone to just get on our phone and having music in, having AirPods in, and we're just watching TV in our free time. We don't ever have time to just sit alone and just hang out with ourselves and get to know ourselves. Because it's so funny, Harrison. If you ask people what they like to do or what makes them happy, you'll be surprised, bro. People stutter and don't know, and I didn't know for the longest as well. Like some people don't know what their favorite color is. Some people just don't know. So I think that's part of the subconscious as well, is getting to know yourself. If your subconscious stores 95% of who you are, and don't believe anything I say on here, go look it up for yourself. If the subconscious stores 95% of who you are and you don't ever tap into it, you really don't know yourself. And if the ultimate commandment is to love oneself, right? Or love oneself as you love other people, if you can't really know yourself, you can't really love yourself if you don't know yourself. So I would just say, I don't know, whatever that looks like for you, you could take it or leave it, but do your research. Do your research on the subconscious. It's a fascinating concept. We all have one, and we should all kind of dive into it.
Well, certainly makes sense. I think it just can't be overlooked, especially today that everybody's got so many emotional problems. And I'm not saying just because everybody's soft. I think there's so many distractions, and you mentioned it before. Someone might not even be able to tell you what their favorite color is as soon as they get free time. It's just a distraction. I mean, you're not giving people just don't give themselves a lot of time to even get to know themselves, which is just a crazy thought to think. In 2024, we struggle to even know our own selves. But yeah, it's just a complex psyche, and your subconscious is a massive part of it. And if you're not listening to it, if you're not getting that kind of quiet voice in the back of your head that's calling you, and I don't even mean calling you in a religious way, but there is typically something that you want. And if you listen close enough, your subconscious will tell you to go out there and pursue it. So yeah, I think that's a good quarter century worth of wisdom right there. Again, I'm 25. I don't think I've even fully discovered my subconscious fully yet, but I do know you got to listen to it, because I think if you ignore it, that's where a lot of that just uncertainty, anxiety, day to day, just waking up with panic, I think that's where that comes from. Because to your point, Chancellor, you just don't even know what you want, desire. And when you have no goals in place, which again, listening to that subconscious can allow you to do, I think that can be a scary place to be for people. When you don't have something that you're working towards, that's when the day-to-day stuff just can become monotonous, overbearing, anxiety ridden. I mean, that's just kind of where I'm breaking down what you're saying, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I'll say this. This is my last little point on it. That's a story I've told on here before. I think, yeah, I told it on here before. But Henry Ford, everyone knows Ford Motors. Everyone knows that, right? But Henry Ford, he's giving someone a tour of their facility, their manufacturing, how they do all the stuff that they do back in the day. He's giving someone a tour. He's taking them through the offices, and someone in the offices looks like he's sleeping, got his feet up on the chair, and he's just sleeping, right? What it looks like. And so the person who's getting the tour asked Henry Ford, like, hey, what is this person doing? Someone's on your payroll to sleep? And Henry Ford says, no. This person made such and such cylinder engine and made us millions and millions and millions of dollars. And he got that idea, like doing this dream state that he does. So this man is getting paid to tap into his subconscious for Henry Ford. And now all you see is these cylinder engines that this man created off of just tapping into his subconscious. Go look up that story. It's phenomenal. But yeah. We'll end quarter century wisdom because I know there's so much I want to talk about with Big Ten media. I've been itching to get back on the show, but yeah. Any last thoughts?
One more thing that I want to talk to you about, and it'll be real quick, and then let's talk about Big Ten Media Days. Did you see Dylan Raiola and David Sanders bringing the recruiting there, letting the people know that he's picking them up and he's showing up to Lincoln with him and try to get a fan base out there? It kind of felt like the Discord idea that we're talking about earlier. It was awesome. I think it worked really well. There was a massive fan base that showed up that was ready to support him. What did you think about that? Dylan Raiola, he goes, picks up Sanders, lets everybody know, hey, I'm bringing the 5-star offensive tackle in. Let's give him a big red welcome. Tennessee tried to do the same. I saw the pictures. Wasn't nearly as impressive. Thoughts on that from Dylan Raiola trying to recruit Sanders?
Yeah, so I don't know if people don't know what me and Harrison are talking about. We talked about, I think last week, not this past week, but the week before, we talked about Nebraska fans forming a Discord and having all the Nebraska fans on there, hundreds of thousands of Nebraska fans, although it would get a little rowdy. But having someone drop in a player that we're trying to target or whatever, and that the Discord would then go to their social medias and follow him, and they would get thousands and thousands of likes and comments and followers. And then like we would get his attention, or that would be kind of the needle that breaks the camel's back, or whatever analogy you want to call it. Mm-hmm. But we would end up being a favor to the recruit. So seeing that happen, I'm like thinking in my head, like, was somebody listening, or was this, hey, Dylan, you was listening to the show or something? But no, I think that's awesome. I think that's how the new age of social media, I'm surprised people haven't tapped into it more. I'm surprised that this is kind of the only thing I've seen in the past few years where like you got the quarterback tweeting out to fans like, we need y'all to show up to this and this. So I think that's only the beginning, and it kind of got national attention. Obviously because Dylan is a national name and a household name. So I think that's awesome. I personally think that's awesome. And I think we should utilize the fans more and utilize Lincoln and utilize all the things that the fans bring. They bring the energy, they're supportive, and they do not let Nebraska get outshined by SEC, ACC, any type of school. So it's awesome to see that.
Yeah, that's what I loved about it the most was it really puts pressure on everybody else who's got an official visit after. I mean, Tennessee, that's tough. Like that's just a tough look, even though it's not really their fault. But when they're trying to mimic what Nebraska just did, because obviously Sanders is looking at Nebraska now, like, man, they loved me over there, and I just got there, and they were ready to welcome me with open arms. Tennessee, again, they're probably willing to do so as well, but the fandom just isn't behind it. So when you have 8 people compared to, I don't know, maybe it was like 100, maybe even a couple hundred down there at Nebraska, it makes a difference. Like that is a noticeable difference on the fan interaction and the fan pride behind the college football program. So I think it's a huge plus, and I'll be curious to see. I am, to your point, surprised we haven't seen more things like that where you have the quarterback tweeting out like, hey, everybody, let's give a big warm welcome. But I'm not going to be surprised here if we do start seeing more and more people doing that. It's kind of a copycat thing. It's always been like that. So we'll probably see other schools try to do the same. But like I said, you feel pretty damn good about Nebraska because that's kind of our bread and butter. We'll show up for anything. With that being said, though, That's kind of where I'm at on that point. I wanted to bring that up because I thought it was super cool of Dylan Rayola to do, and it worked out tremendously well. It was a brilliant idea. Big Ten Media Days. We got like 5 minutes on this first segment. Where do you want to start?
Yeah. So first, we won't get to the juicy points right now. We'll say that to the next segment.
Mm-hmm.
But I would just say we could start off with just being there. Just being there was awesome. Lucas Oil Stadium, I believe it was called.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, it was awesome. Getting to see so what I thought of it and how I was explaining it to people, because they're like, where were you at this past week? And I'm like, I don't really know what to call it. So I basically call it the League of Nations for Big Ten.
All right.
So, but it was interesting though, because every player or every coach went and represented their team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And got on the podium,
mm-hmm.
and it was like, and then he brought like 3 ambassadors with him as well, and the ambassadors were the players, right? So you had like the captain, or not the captain, the president, and 3 ambassadors walk in, and so no, it was awesome, and I think the best part, not the best part, but my 1A, 1B, 1C would be seeing the guys in the suits, seeing how they carried themselves, the different colors they chose. Like there were some sleeper ones, Harrison. There were some sleeper suits that I don't think got talked about enough. Like Rutgers came in. Hey, Rutgers came in styling. I ain't gonna lie. Rutgers came in styling. If we was just to choose who was gonna win off of the suits, I'm telling you, Rutgers is the top team in the Big Ten. I'm telling you here first.
I'm getting myself a picture, see if I can spot them out here, see how sharp they
Yeah,
look.
they had that tall. I think they had 2 linebackers and a running back, I believe. Good looking brothers, but they was one had shades on, the other, had like the little plaid. I said, oh my gosh, man, they was going in. But Ohio State came in stunting. Ryan Day showed up like he owned the place. That was a dope sight to see.
Those are some nice suits. I'm looking at them right now. Well done. You might, yeah. We're going off suits. That's the best team.
Hey, they was styling. Wisconsin, the big boys. They for how plain I thought that Wisconsin was gonna come. They had some little pizzazz to them. They had some style. They had some get up to them. Dylan Gabriel from Oregon, he came in stunned with like a light gray or light blue. He's a lot shorter than I thought. No shade, but
I always thought that. I'm glad that the eye test proves that as well, because he always looked, I don't know, he always seems kind of short. Obviously, he's still a damn good quarterback. Don't think it bothers him too much, but
oh yeah. It was because we played them Oklahoma. We played them home Oklahoma. And we went there, but he wasn't there then. But when we played him home, he was the quarterback, but we got blown out, and I wasn't trying to shake hands with nobody, so I wasn't even on that type of time. I'm gonna be honest with you. Some games is just like that, my brother. But so I'm trying to think of anyone else who came in. Nebraska came in. They was just clean cut. Everyone, they did the Nebraska way. Matt Rule came in, I think he gave probably the best speech.
Yeah,
him and PJ Fleck. I think him and PJ Fleck came in and gave some nice speeches. And of course, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about the Deshaun Foster situation.
I was about that.
It wasn't. I'll say this: in the stadium, it wasn't as bad as people thought.
Okay,
I'll say that.
That's
because
a little
we were kind of on air, like. All the media were on the outside, like on air, and we were like, oh, that was a short little whatever. But like, obviously, if you were one of the ones like waiting to ask questions, because you have to think, everyone needs context for that clip.
Yeah.
The clip was 90 seconds or I think maybe a minute and 15, right?
Yeah, it was
you got
just over a minute.
Seconds. Yeah. And so all the other coaches spoke for I would say 9 minutes. PJ Fleck spoke for 17, but
was he? I thought he was the first coach that day. Wasn't he the first one to speak, or no? Was he later?
Who?
Deshaun Foster. I thought he was the first one, or was he later in the order?
Yeah, that was the first one of the
day
second
2, right?
Day, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, he I don't know if he knew exactly what the standard was because he's the first one at 11 a.m. So to be fair, he answered all the questions and he still ran he was up there for like 15, 20 minutes after that. So it wasn't like that was it. The clip was a little bit out of context, but looking at the clip, it was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, it was just a tough look. I mean, and again, with the context, sure, maybe it makes it not feel so awkward, but to me, it's where the mess up is. It's like, that's your chance to kind of show everybody what UCLA is entering into the Big Ten. Like, it's a really good opportunity to sell your program to the rest of the league, to the rest of players who are, actually starting to, especially with the Pac-12 being done, you got a bunch of new fans for the Big Ten. That's kind of your introductory press conference. You want to really sell that. Now, at the end of the day, nobody cares if you still go start winning games. But the tough part, UCLA, their roster, their schedule, I don't know how optimistic I can be saying they're going to be fine and they'll be able to win games. I think even if they go bowling, that's a huge success. So,
right,
just a tough look because he's not going to get too much of the benefit of the doubt either now, especially with that kind of rough performance follow some losses after it. Like, he's going to be hard to search for some redeeming qualities unless he can just go ahead and get some wins because he doesn't have a ton of experience either. So it's not like he's got this massive resume where you could just point to that's going to give you a lot of confidence. Now, I think he just froze up a little bit. I'm not going to say I have no idea if he's actually going to be a good or bad coach. I think something happened where when you're in the middle of a thought and you lose it and it's just like deer in headlights, I think that's just, it happened at, like you said, somewhat of just an awkward timing without the context that just really made it look even worse. But when you have other conversations around there, it wasn't actually just 100% dead silent. Not as bad as like what you maybe saw on social media. Still not a great look though.
Yeah, it was. And so if you go off like the League of Reference analogy, League of Nations analogy, like imagine like a president or like, ambassador of the kingdom, ambassador of like, a country getting up there and he starts pointing out location, like where they are on the map. Like it just was bad. Like when he started talking about like, we're in Southern California.
Yeah, he said UCLA is in LA.
Right next to USC. Like, what? Looking back, I was like, there's no way he said that. And I was just on air, not even listening. Like, but yeah, I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. Full picture, it's not that big of a deal. He's a running back. His job was to hit the hole, pass pro, and catch the ball in the backfield. It was, that's him as a running back. And Amon Green was talking about it with like you're not going to expect a running back up there to give a full speech, and especially the type of running back that Deshaun Foster was. He was a high IQ, downhill guy, like get the ball in his hands and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily an indication that UCLA is going to go 3-9 this year. Although I don't think they're going to be a top team in the Big Ten. But yeah,
I don't think so at all. I think that's just kind of what we're saying. Like even if he happens to be a great coach, I just think UCLA's got a very tough hill to climb right now. So that's why I think even the smallest things actually matters for a program like UCLA. But like you said, it's definitely not the end all be all. Well, it's just an unfortunate moment. You don't ever want to be kind of the one negative highlight that everybody talks about after the fact. But could have been a lot worse. Wasn't that shortly? I don't think a lot, it's going to be lasting, drag out forever. There's going to be some other scandals right before kickoff, I'm sure, to take everybody's eyes and ears and completely forget about that situation. But with that being said, we'll keep talking some Big Ten Media Days. We got Chancellor Brewington on the Ella VIP line where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. So don't go anywhere. We'll talk to you guys on the other side.
You don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out because your membership is packed with perks. For $1 down and $24.99 a month, you'll get perks like access to any of our 2,400 clean and spacious locations. Bring your friend anytime and both work out with tons of equipment that'll give you that big fitness energy. Relax in the Black Card Spa and more. Work out and perk out with the PF Black Card. Join for just $1 down and $24.99 a month. Hurry, this deal ends soon. See Home Club for details.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you wanna come and text us,
if you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music.
This is Mommy's jam.
then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
I'd never turn it off. I'd never turned it off. I would never turn it off. I go flat 9.
Ooh.
I like it. I just love the sound of it.
I'd turn it off. I'd walk to a different bar. I wouldn't.
Seriously?
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Bill, what is the why?
It's a 194.
Why?
It just doesn't. No, it's
That's the biggest despair we've ever had.
Yeah,
on a
it's a
song.
194. Nothing. There's that one good thing about that song.
Like-
I've never questioned you more in my life.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in to Ticket Weeknights. What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington? We are not on the FM airwaves, only the streams. But like I said before, you can still join in using the Sartner Haven text line or comment through the streams, 402-464-5685. Feel free to do so. But let's bring it back in. We got the host, Chancellor Brewington, on the Allo VIP line. We talked Big Ten Media Days on the last segment. Chancellor, where do you want to go on this one?
Yeah, so staying on Big Ten Media, we had the opportunity to talk to so many influential, important people. Shoot, we talked to DP, ended up knowing the Lieutenant General of the Air Force, 21st Lieutenant General of the Air Force, only black man ever. And they ended up, knowing each other from, Arlington, Virginia, and and just amazing stuff, right? So
yeah, I'm only laughing for everybody out there because it's just incredible the lengths that DP has connections wise. I swear you can go anywhere in the world, DP is going to find somebody that he knows at a personal level.
Yeah, then we interview the Indiana's running back that the transfer over from Wake Forest, and he knew his pops and his Barry Thompson coached him back in the day. So yeah, no, it was awesome. But staying on the Lieutenant General, there was a question that DP asked him about leadership, and I literally after he got up, I made sure I remembered his answer and I wrote it down on my phone because I think the concept. I think the idea of just being curious wherever you go, I think that's how the smartest people, I think Confucius or Socrates or one of these people said, he basically said that I know so much that I know little to nothing. And the concept behind that is like you're constantly learning, constantly evolving. Like you never know everything. You're always acting like a kid, just a child, like trying to learn everything. And the Lieutenant General answered a question on leadership and what leadership meant to him. And he answered it in a way, it was like a curveball. It was a 0-2. No, it was a 0-1. It was a 0-1 slider in the dirt that got you swinging. And he said, well, the question DP asked was what leadership means to him. Obviously, being the Lieutenant General and now being on the college football playoff board. So he said, number one, leadership is knowing your purpose and why you're here on earth. And I almost fell off my chair, Harrison. I said, oh my gosh, it's so rich if you think about it. It's a super rich statement because why you're here on earth. You can serve people. You can actually lead when you know why you're here on earth. And then the second one, I literally wrote down on my phone. I have it right here. The second one was being humble. And then the third one was humility. And the quote he said with humility was thinking of yourself less, not thinking of your. Wait. Hold on. I might have just butchered that. Hold on.
I'll help you out here. Yeah, go ahead.
Think of yourself less, not less of yourself. Does that make sense? Think of yourself less, not less of yourself. So not this false sense of humility. Not this false sense of humility like, oh, I'm nothing, woe is me, like I'm just a little worm here on earth. Like, no, it's think of yourself less. Think about other people. Know that other people are here for a purpose and that, they're made in the same image that you are and things like that. So I thought that was gangsta. And yeah, so on top of that, we got to talk to the athletic director of Nebraska.
Oh, you got to talk to Troy Dannon. That's right.
Yes.
It's a great interview.
Yes.
You guys can go check it out on YouTube.
Yeah, go check it out under the videos tab on 93.7 on YouTube. Go check that out. Obviously, Coach Rule, although I wasn't a part of that conversation, I think that was Amon Green, I think it was Jay Foreman and Adam Carricker. Great guys, by the way. Got to know them a lot more on this trip. But Troy Dannon, he said Adam Carricker asked the question on how he feels about the expectations going into the year. And Adam kept saying, like, people expect, a 7-win, a 9-win, a 10-win, yada, 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 blase. And so I'm waiting because this was like kind of like one of them questions where like, oh, we about to hear something, right?
Yep.
And so Troy answers it in a way where I said, whoa. Like this was like, no, I'm not gonna say that. But this was golf size or onion size. You know what I'm saying? Like this was amazing, right? And so he says whatever their expectations are or were, mine are even higher, whatever they are. And I said, whoa. I mean, me and Harrison almost predicted a 9-win, 10-win season. And so that what he's implying is that his are even higher than that. And if you go watch the interview, he had nothing but great plans for Nebraska, great things on the way for Nebraska. He talked about 4 pillars of an institute or of a program to make them great. He talked about you got to go back on the interview and watch this. I might get these wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was facilities, talent, and it was 2 other ones, but it was 4 pillars. And once you get all those 4 pillars right, then he said, winning is inevitable. And so if you watch the interview, we also talked about his time at Tulane and how Tulane went from a 2-10 season to beating SC in the in a bowl game the next year. And what he talked about was they went 2-10, right? And everyone around the program is like, fire the head coach. But the way he saw it, he saw the 2-10 as a positive 2-10. And in my mind, I'm like, where's he going with this? And so he said it was a positive 2-10, right?
Yep.
And so he said that there was growth happening in the program, And so he knew the next year would turn around. So he didn't fire the head coach, although he had the power to. Didn't fire the head coach, stuck with him, realized that there was positive things going on in the program. The next year they go to a bowl game, are ranked, and beat SC in a bowl game. Beating Caleb Williams. The next year going to be the Heisman. So, it was awesome. Had some great conversations.
That's important to bring up too. I mean, he's got a good track record. It's not. I think people just kind of get short-sighted on how far back it goes, but it's he's had a leadership abilities. We hope it continues to apply here at Nebraska. I think he also gave people another update. I wasn't sure if it was at your table, but we did get some more news on Memorial Stadium, what he kind of sees for the future on that one. Chancellor, I got to ask you, did you run into any guys that recognized you, that actually had to play against you, or maybe even some coaches that were like, wait a minute, I recognize that kid? Was there any sort of recognition from you? Because, again, you're not too far off from your football career as a Cornhusker.
Yeah, so there was some interesting exchanges from some linebackers that I faced. It's Harrison, it's this thing like this football, it's really just this man thing, like this male, I would
just
say,
sizing each other up unnecessarily.
Yeah. And I'm like, I got the media tag on. I'm not about to suit up this year. If I was, you was still going to be on the ground. But no, I'm playing. But no, those are some fantastic athletes out there. I did get to, I topped it up with a couple guys. I recognize, Rutgers, their backer. We had some, it's funny because it's these moments, man, where you're playing against guys and you're really battling. I can remember we're playing against Rutgers and it's 4th and 1. We go on it 4th and 1 and we line up and we run dub or duo or whatever you want to call it. And my job was to insert and get the play side linebacker. And it happens to be the dude they bring to media day. And we had some battles that game. Like, I'm talking chirping after the whistle. I throw him on the ground. He tries to throw me on the ground. Next play, like, just battling, right? And it's those type of, it's funny. We see each other eye to eye. We don't need to say anything, but it's just like this mutual respect. But it's also like this, I'm ready to go at any moment again. I could see it in his eyes. He could see it in mine. And I'm like, hey, it's just respect, and we just keep it moving. There's not really much need to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it was awesome to get around players, like guys who just have that in their eyes. There was a moment that I do want to talk about if we have time. Do we have time, Harrison?
Yeah, we still got like 3-4 minutes on this one.
Okay, perfect. So UCLA is sitting down with Sirius XM, right?
Yep.
And they're doing their little sports Big Ten thing over there. And so it's the table to the left, and UCLA is sitting down talking with them. And so they have their D lineman, I believe it was a receiver or DB, some type of skill guy, and then I think their quarterback. And so they're sitting down talking, and their time is up, and Nebraska is like right behind them waiting, right? And this is real close quarters, like they're like face to face. And so the UCLA guys get up, right? And they turn around and see the Nebraska guys. It's Ty, Ben, and Gift. And it was the stare down of the century, dog. Like, I'm talking, they brought a D lineman. I could see he was sizing up Ben Scott. Ben was sizing up him. Ty didn't flinch. I don't think Ty even blinked the whole time. He just looked massive. I don't know what Gift was doing, probably thinking about, taking someone's head off, whatever. But no, it was awesome seeing that exchange, and that happened everywhere. I'm talking everywhere. Wisconsin guy walked by, an Iowa guy walked by, Ohio State come in. Like, it was just not ego, but like male presence running into male presence, and yeah, it was
Well, I got to
it was
think
a
too.
sight to see.
I got to think too, especially with the guys that we end up bringing. A couple of those defensive guys. I wonder, they got to be looking at Nash, or excuse me, we didn't bring Nash, but looking at Ty and just thinking like, damn, we got another year of you back there. Looking at Gifford, like, damn, you're still around, huh? Like, just kind of when you see those guys, especially with the seasons they've been able to put together, it kind of creeps into the back of your mind. It's like, oh, I got another year of you. Okay. Because I'd imagine those guys aren't tracking everybody who's graduating, transferring. They're locked in on their school, what they need to do. And it's probably somewhat of a reminder for some of those guys, like, all right, I got another year of this guy. When we go play Nebraska, Ty Robinson's still going to be there. Not to mention, they probably found out Nash is going to be there as well. I mean, this defense coming back, I'm just incredibly excited for it. And of course, Dylan Raiola. We do got to come to our next break here, though. But Chancellor, I'll let you tease it, what you want to talk about next on the last segment before we wrap things up on this segment.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more Nebraska, a little bit more Big Ten media. Yeah, I got to spend some time with some awesome people. I met Amon Green for the first time, although he's been at the ticket for a while now. First time met him. First time met Adam Carricker in person. Met some awesome people. So I guess we'll just stay on Big Ten media.
Absolutely. We'll do that next. Don't go anywhere. What's brewing? Chancellor Brewington. We got him on the Allo VIP line. We'll talk to you on the other side.
Football season is nearly here, and your long wait for year 2 of Matt Rule is almost over. Gear up for the season with 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of Big Ten Media Days from July 23rd to the 25th, live from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Jay Foreman, Amon Green, Adam Carricker, Chancellor Brewington, Derek Pearson, Steve Sipple, Jake Sorensen, and Nick Sainer will be in Indy for our shows Tuesday through Thursday. Getting the latest news from Nebraska and everyone else around the conference. Coverage of Big Ten Media Days is brought to you by 1890 Nebraska, Stevens & Smith Construction, The Complex, Warhorse Casino, and Riddles Jewelry.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de The Alzheimer's Association y The Ad Council.
The Nebraska legislature will soon meet in special session and may consider a vote to raise consumer prices by imposing a sales tax on advertising. Nebraska's small businesses would be hit hardest, forcing them to raise prices, meaning we'd all pay more for the things we need. Contact your state senator and tell them no ad tax. Visit noadtaxnebraska.com to find your senator's contact information. That's noadtaxnebraska.com. A message from the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Whether you like fishing together or fishing to get away, for the thrill of reeling in a big one, or just going out to have a good time, on the banks of your local pond, at a bend in a river, or on one of our many lakes and reservoirs, you'll always find the perfect place to cast a line. Here, beneath Nebraska skies. Start planning your next fishing adventure today at letsfishnebraska.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Your child was embarrassed when you arrived at their basketball game. 75% of parents or guardians report current alcohol use. Drinking alcohol can cause harm to children and loved ones. By drinking less, your child will be excited to see you at their basketball game. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Are you a veteran looking for a new companion animal? A dog, a cat, or maybe something else? The Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs Vets Get Pets program can cover up to $350 of your pet adoption fees. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov/vetsgetpets to learn more about program requirements and how to apply. Want to help support the program? Get your Vets Get Pets specialty license plates from the Nebraska DMV. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is area race announcer James Rowland. Join me and Bree Fansteel every Sunday night from 7 to 8 on 93.7 The Ticket for the Finish Line, where we cover all things motorsports from local racing to racing around the world. Every Sunday night from 7 to 8 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Football season is nearly here, and your long wait for year 2 of Matt Rule is almost over. Gear up for the season with 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of Big Ten Media Days from July 23rd to the 25th, live from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Jay Foreman, Amon Green, Adam Carricker, Chancellor Brewington, Derek Pearson, Steve Sipple, Jake Sorensen, and Nick Sainert will be in Indy for our shows Tuesday through Thursday, getting the latest news from Nebraska and everyone else. Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment of What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington. We got the host, as always, not streaming in. He is on the Allo VIP line today as we wrap up today's show. We got about 5 minutes left. We were talking Big Ten Media Days, as obviously Chancellor was out there representing the Ticket crew. And, of course, you mentioned it with some of the other names out there, Carricker, Jay Foreman, Amon Green, obviously DP, Nick Sainert up there as well, Jake Sorensen. Help me out if I'm missing anybody. I think that's everyone. But go ahead. I know you had got a few more things you wanted to top off on before we wrap up the show when it comes to Big Ten Media Days.
Yeah, 100%. And I just want to speak to how special the Ticket is, how special the environment and the structure that Derek Pearson, DP, has laid. Man, it's so awesome to see when you go other places and you see, not to say that we're better and whatever, although we are better, but just to see the way when the Ticket walks in, everything changes. And I mean that in the most humble, but in the most in a just way though. Man, I had the opportunity. I wasn't on air at the time. I was sitting off to the side, and I got to see a awesome exchange that could only happen the way it did. It could only happen like this. Amon Green is sitting down talking to Northwestern's running back Cam something. I forget his whole name.
I'll try to find it. I think it's on the tip of my tongue here. But go ahead.
Yeah. So they're getting off air, and so first of all, one of the Northwestern guy wants a picture with one of the Northwestern media guys wants a picture with Amon, right?
Cam Porter.
And so Cam Porter. Yeah, Cam Porter. And so they're sitting there. We get off air, and Cam Porter starts talking to Amon Green, and then he starts asking football questions. And I'm just taking it all in, because I'm like, this is such a beautiful exchange. Like, this is what makes the ticket. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. I see Cam Porter. He's talking to Amon Green about his cadence getting up to the line of scrimmage, and Amon's telling him, be a little bit more patient. Your footwork for inside zone is the same. Yada yada yada. Let the blocks develop. Like, just giving them game, right? And then he goes into, when I got to Green Bay and I'm playing, Urlacher, and I'm playing against the Bears, I was just looking for the top of the helmets and yada yada. And then so him and Cam are speaking the language of running backs, right? They're speaking the language of running backs. They're going back and forth. I saw it like this, and Amon's like, well, you see it like this, that's good, but I want you to, change your perspective or switch up your footwork just a little bit more this way. And then, they're just having this whole exchange. I'm just sitting back, and I'm like, this is young greatness talking to veteran greatness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what it's about. You had Jay Foreman, Hall of Fame Husker linebacker, talking to Wisconsin's linebacker. I'm gonna butcher his name again. I'm not gonna try it. But they're talking on air about playing the linebacker position, talking linebacker language, and I'm like, dude, like this is what I like to see. Like this is what it is right here. This is all of what it is. This is football. This is why. And I was telling DP, I'm like, as a former player, I'm not disrespecting media guys in no way. I'm just telling the truth. Players want to talk to players. You have to get uniform and you have to address the media a certain way. But if the media goes and asks a receiver his technique off the line of scrimmage and how he got open for a route, you're going to see a different flicker in his eyes. You're going to see a little twinkle. And I'm not saying this in a weird way. I'm saying this in like, this is what he's passionate about. This is what he loves. This is what when he goes home and he's talking to his girl or he's talking to his family, this is what they talk about. He talks about this type of stuff. And so I'm just thinking about all the times where I get in front of the media and I have to address it a certain way. And you do. There's certain things you have to address. You have to say, obviously the players and the coaches, did their thing and that's why we accomplished whatever. But when in the media are they ever going to have those type of conversations where it's like, we talked about, you get in front of Dylan Raiola and you talk about his progression. You get to pick the mind on how he went through his progression and got to his third read and his footwork was on time and how he was able to command a game and what he saw, how he audibled the bat to stay in protection because he saw the Sam coming off the edge. Like those are the things that gets players excited. So I think that's what the ticket provides, and I think that's why we're so special. And I don't mean that in an egotistical way or a presumptuous way. I mean in the realest way I could.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this much: there's no secret to some of the success and allure that the ticket's been able to provide. I mean, you mentioned it. You got some Hall of Famers. Listen, I love the media guys, but it's not a hard thing to imagine. Why would they want to talk to the media guy? Now, given there's certain situations where the media guy is going to have some info, be a little savvy in other areas where he's going to be able to get really great articles, write some awesome stories for you. If he's writing you a glow-up piece. But at the same time, of course, that kid's going to want to talk to the guy who was a Hall of Famer in the sport he's trying to succeed at. And that's what DP put this team together. And now you got to have that balance, of course, between media and just former, Husker athletes. You also got to make sure you get the right former athletes. And I think that's what DP's done a really good job at. Because Brewington, you know it yourself, not every former athlete's cut out to be a part of media. DP has a good job of getting the right people.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, trust me. I'm not going to say it's like the hardest thing in the world, but it's a lot harder than people think. It's a lot harder than people think. Just being live in front of people and thinking on questions on the fly. And obviously, DP does a great job being the head honcho and teaching, everyone how to do such and able to elevate your media game just like you would a coach elevate your game on the field. So, but yeah, you can't just let anyone get up there and get on the mic and just say whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because we see what happens. You can have some bad moments up there when you're just not prepared for it. Even going back to Deshaun Foster, although I think that was just a fluke, but you can't see people. Not everybody's cut out for it. With that being said, though, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Shout out to Chancellor Brewington. Once again, he's back hosting his show. Brewington, I don't think we'll probably have you back in Nebraska anytime soon, but like I said, he'll probably be streaming in. We'll get him on the Allo VIP line. So nonetheless, Brewington, appreciate the time. On time as always. We will do it again tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good night.